So now Professor Crowther had defined what we call today as money, and he said that money is anything that is generally acceptable as a means of exchange. So it's acceptable, right? And it's what? A means of exchange. And at the same time, it is measure of store and value. So it is measurable and it is storable and it is also having some amount of value. And Professor Walker, he defined money is what money does, right? In simple terms, what is money? Money is what money does. So when you give money, what happens? It is doing something for you. It is giving a product, it is giving a service, right? Or if you are taking money, then you are giving away some service, you're giving away some product. So money is what money does. Then now in this part, we are going to see the evolution of money, how money evolved. It is so interesting to see the entire evolution that money went through. So if you look at this particular chart, it goes from bottom to top and you can see different types of money. Different types of money evolved from animal money to today's electronic money. So we'll see one by one. Now let's see animal money. Animal money, of course, they used to use sheep, cows, goats and trade them in exchange of some other product which they really wanted. Then came the second type, which was commodity money, where you had different types of commodities depending on their climatic conditions, depending on what they used to produce, what they have in surplus. Depending on that, they started using these commodities as money. So some of the examples were like shells, feathers, then even salt, rare articles, and stones. They started using this in terms of money. Then again, storing stones or storing certain articles, like if you see elephant tusks, or if you're talking of grains, shellfish, all this requires a lot of storage. It can become heavy and it's not possible to trade easily. So they designed the next part, which was metallic money, which made life a little simple. So metallic coins in the ancient times, even today we have those coins now, which were at the time of maybe historical times, like in India we have Shivaji's time, or it was Mughals time. It was some coins were in the British era and so on. So there were historic coins. So there were kings and queens and rulers who used to print their own type of metallic money. Now even metallic money has some types. Now let's see what they are. So standard or full bodied coins. So they are like full bodied coins are those which face value is equal to their intrinsic value. If you're talking about gold, let's say the gold coin, if you're talking of coin is let's say 10 grams, gold price is let's say 1 lakh rupees. So that coin, which is one coin, will be equivalent to 1 lakh rupees. So it was calculated that way. So whatever is the value of that metal becomes the value of that coin. That is what we mean by face value is equal to intrinsic value. Now there were some coins which were called as token coins. Now these were like cheap metals like aluminum, for example. So coins were made of aluminum. If we have India, we had that 1 rupee old coin which was made of aluminum. So basically this particular coin, the value, if you go to sell it directly as a metal in the market, it will not have value, right? Because aluminum will be having lower value, even lower than 1 rupee, which was the value of that coin. So face value, if you exchange that particular aluminum piece, it could be 1 rupee. But if actually you sell it as aluminum, it will be lower in value. This is what is the meaning of difference in face value and intrinsic value. Intrinsic value would be of the metal of aluminum, which could be like 3 grams, 4 grams, and it doesn't have value maybe greater than what exchange value is. So if you give that piece of aluminum, as I said, because it is a coin, it has greater value than its actual value as aluminum. This is called as a token coin. Now, of course, even metallic money had its own limitations and problems, and because of trade which was happening cross borders, different states, and you had to carry huge bundles, like you had to carry those huge bundles of coins and then transport it to another state and then buy the goods from there. So it was becoming difficult. So what happened? The next step that happened in the evolution of money was the paper money. So now in India, if you see, the central bank, which is the Reserve Bank of India, has the monopoly of printing, distributing the paper money. So this is how the evolution took place, and we are in the time frame when the paper money is again switched off over to some other type. Now we are going to go ahead and see that. But right now, remember that paper money was something which was designed for ease of transaction, so that the storage space is less, the weight of that, that money is not much. So if you have coins of 1 lakh rupees and 1 lakh rupee notes, obviously the currency notes, the paper notes would be lighter, right? And it's easier to transport, travel, and carry it. So this is how paper money became more convenient and it came into form. Again, paper money, so much of money you have to take. If by any chance it rains in between, the money gets wet, the notes are spoiled, and it becomes a big problem. So then what? Then they started banking, right? The system of banking more convenient, transfer the money in electronic format. So this was very much easier than having actual currency notes being transported and taken to the other person, exchanged for something and got. So what came up? Checks, demand drafts, and electronic transactions. These days we have what we call as NEFT transactions, RTGS transactions, that is bank-to-bank transactions. You don't even sign a check, you just have a transfer of RTGS from one account to the other. Then we had the evolution of plastic money, what we call it. Plastic money means what? Credit cards, debit cards, right? So just swipe a card and then you have the benefit of that transaction. So you just swipe the card, the money gets debited in your account, and the person who has the card swiped at his shop gets the money from the bank. So it becomes more easier. A small piece of plastic can be useful for the transactions that you can take place, which you would have found it difficult to take up with the help of other types of money like metallic money, paper money, or even banks for that matter. And today we have digital India, we have the most evolved type of money, which is in the form of electronic money. You just have a scan code and use a scanner from your phone, and the money is transferred by just pressing the pin. And there are wallets, as I told you in the beginning, there are wallets, there are online transactions, quick payments are taking place like GPay. We have different Paytm and other such variety, MobiQuick, PayU, and all those different types of money digital platforms where you can actually transact without going to the bank, without signing a check, and so on, and even without carrying a card. So through your mobile, you can actually make the transfers.